Last time we discussed what the word grammar means, and we said grammar is what? Rules. And we differentiated or we mentioned 4 types of rules, right? And we said that syntactical rules are presented through introducing the form, then the what? We said about presenting the syntactical rules. First of all, when we talk about rules in general, I told you we have 2 modes of teaching rules, deductive and inductive. And one of you last time was asking me a question that she still cannot distinguish between the inductive process and deductive process. And she told me that she has some convincing arguments that what I said in the session didn't make sense to her. Who was she? She's not here. Okay, anyway, it was you. So in the induction, we start with what? Examples. With the deduction mode, we start with the rule. So what do you have different? Do you have anything different? Yes. In the dictionary, yes. No. The induction and deduction are related to logic. You know logic? What's logic? Yes, the science that deals with how you organize your ideas and your words to make sense. So in logic, we have what we call reasoning. What's reasoning in Arabic? Reasoning. How can you translate the word reasoning? R-E-S-O. How can you translate it? What's reasoning in Arabic? Reasoning is divided into induction or deduction. Okay? Reasoning can be either induction or deduction. So what's reasoning? Al-istidlal. Okay? Reasoning refers either to induction or deduction. Induction means in Arabic istiqra'. Istiqra'. Okay? And deduction means istinbat in Arabic. Okay? So whether you are doing induction or deduction, you are using up your thinking and you're making up your mind. So when you put the examples together to formulate the rule, you are doing induction. When you know the rule and apply it onto the examples, you are doing deduction. Okay? So if you still cannot understand, you will need to come with a couple of your friends, and I will give you more examples, and it will be clearer during my office hours. We talked about syntax and syntactical rules. And we said when we have a pattern which shows a syntactical rule, a pattern of language, we tend to introduce it through 2 major steps. As teachers, we introduce patterns of language. When we say pattern of language, we are talking about a syntactical rule, like there is and there are. This is a pattern of language. Like Ali is taller than Ahmed. This is a pattern of language, syntactical rule. When we have a syntactical rule or a language pattern, we tend to introduce the pattern through 2 steps. What are they? You tell me. Steps. First, we introduce the form of the pattern. We write it on the board, and we highlight in the basic key words within that pattern. So we highlight in there and is, or there and are. We highlight in them. We can write them using different color chalk. We write them in color chalk. Then we establish the form of the structure. We establish the form of the structure. How the structure is written, or how the structure is formed. After that, we introduce the meaning of the structure. We can introduce the meaning of the structure through translation, through gestures, through dramatization, through drawing on the board. We can use some of the ostensive means of presenting vocabulary, yes, to introduce the meaning of the new structure. So we use the word structure to mean pattern, to mean a syntactical rule. These three words, when we talk about syntax, are used interchangeably. Understand? No. Some people are scratching their head and they are not sure whether they understand or not. Let me summarize what I said again. Syntax refers to, what do you mean by syntax? In English. How words are formed together to make sentences. This is what we mean by syntax. How words are formed together to make sentences. And what is a sentence? What's a sentence in English? A complete thought. A group of words which expresses a complete thought. So a sentence is a group of words which makes a complete thought. In Arabic, how do you define a sentence in Arabic? مجموعة كلمات تعطي معنى تام. Okay? In Arabic we say الجملة مجموعة كلمات تعطي معنى تام. That's why when we say كان محمد, this is not a sentence, because it doesn't give a complete thought. But if I say كان محمد مجتهدا, this is a complete thought. So this is a sentence. Understand? So a sentence has to give a complete thought. Okay? Syntax, the role of syntax in the language is to make sure that the words are placed according to a particular order. Again, syntax in any language is to make sure that the words that make up the sentence are put together according to a particular order. So in other words, we say syntax is related to word order. Word order means what in Arabic? Tartib. So in Arabic, we don't have a fixed word order. We have what we call a loose, L-O-O-S-E. It's different from loose. Loose here is an adjective. A loose word order. Loose means what? Not fixed. Okay? Loose means not fixed. Say something is loose when it's not solid. We say loose knob, for example. Knob of the door is loose. It needs to be tightened. We say a loose woman. A loose woman. Yes. She comes back home at 2 o'clock in the morning and she is not, yes, she's careless. Yes, that's it. We also say, okay, anyway. So, when we say English has has a fixed word order, but Arabic has a loose word order. So the syntax of the language deals with what?
Order.
Word order. Word order, which makes up the sentence. When we talk about pattern, the pattern means the structure. So when we say structure, we mean pattern. Structure refers to how the sentence is built around a particular grammatical rule, a particular syntactical rule. So any sentence that you say is loaded with a pattern or a structure. Any sentence that you say. Ali is reading a book. This is a structure. What's the structure that this sentence conveys? What's the structure? Present continuous, this is the tense. But the structure is subject plus verb to be plus present participle plus object. So this is the structure. No, you don't understand it still. So when we present the structure and any grammatical sentence conveys one form or another of a structure. Any sentence that you can think of. When I say, for example, Ali speaks or Ali runs quickly. What's the structure here? Subject, verb plus adverb. Adverb. Okay? We say adverb. Please don't say adverb. Adverb is Egyptianized English. Okay? We don't want to pronounce English in an Egyptian way. Adverb. So any structure, the structure is a manifestation of a rule. Manifestation means what in Arabic? Yes, a structure is a manifestation of a rule, of a syntactical rule. So how do we present the structure? We present any structure through two steps. What are they? Form. We establish the form. I write the form. The form means the sentence that embodies the structure. I write the sentence that has the structure, and then I explain the features of this structure, subject plus verb plus adverb, and I say the adverb describes the verb. When I say Mary sings beautifully, beautifully here modifies what? Singing, not Mary. So the adverb, most of the adverbs modifies or describes the verb. So I can give them adverbs and they will use them in sentences. So first, if you remember, when we present or when we write a lesson plan, there is a phase in writing lesson plan called the implementation phase. Yes, in any lesson plan, we follow three phases. Something called in the beginning called preparation, and then implementation, and then evaluation. Let me write this. Nice drawing. Here we have a rule and apply the rule. This is what rule and you apply the rule. This is what induction or deduction? Deduction. Good. Here, the examples, and then we come up with the rule. Induction. So, when we talk about lesson plan, we have three major steps. Preparation, implementation, and evaluation. When we teach a structure, when we present a structure, we present the structure in which of these phases? Implementation. Usually, in any implementation phase, we have 3 steps. We have what we call 3 P's here. The 3 P's. Presentation, practice, and production. So we call them the 3 P's. Presentation, practice, and production. When we introduce or when we teach a new structure at the implementation phase, we present the new structure. We write it on the board. So in this way we are presenting what? Presenting the form or the meaning? The form. So when we introduce the form of the structure, we are introducing, we are presenting the structure here, and we are introducing the form of the structure. After we introduce the structure, the form of the structure, we explain its what? Meaning. Through examples, for example, if I'm, as I told you before, introducing the comparative, I just draw 2 figures, one short and one tall, and I say Ali and, for example, Murad. And I say, and I write the structure, and I say Ali is, and I write taller. I can do this. Then Murad. So here I'm presenting the form of the structure. Here I'm presenting the meaning of the structure. Okay? After this, we come to the second step, the practice. When you hear the word practice in structures or in rules, automatically you should think of drills. Okay? So at the presentation stage, what do we do with the structure? We present the form and the meaning. And at the practice stage, we do what? Drills. What is a drill? What is a drill? Give me an example of a drill. By the way, the topic of drills is probably the most serious and important issue in language teaching. Because most of what English teachers do at schools, at the classrooms, is drilling their students on how to use the language. And where do we use the drills? In what stage? Which is practice. So whenever you hear the word practice, automatically you think of drills. We use repetitive drills when we introduce the new vocabulary. When we introduce the new vocabulary, we use repetitive drills. And notice how I'm saying it. Repetitive drills. How do you say it? Repetitive drills, not repetitive drills. Okay, repetitive drills. So you show them, for example, flashcards, and you say the word, and they will repeat it after you 2 or 3 times. This is called repetitive drill. And when you use repetitive drill, the aim is to get your students to do what? Practice. So whenever you hear the word drill, you should remember practice. So how do we practice the new language? Through drills. I told you before that the word drill in Arabic has a very interesting connotation. In Arabic, what's the word drill? What do you mean by the word drill in Arabic? Mifqah, chignon. So in English, or the literal meaning, we pierce, we dig. Yes, we dig a hole in the mind of the learner and pour the information through it. This way, the student will remember the new information. So by drilling, we help our students to remember the new information. Let it be new words, new structures, whatever. We use drills all over when we teach new language. Okay, understand? There are about 4 types of drills. And the drill is introduced according to some particular steps. First, you have to say the drill or say the sentence. So a drill is a linguistic pattern. A drill is a linguistic pattern that shows the structure. A drill is a linguistic pattern that shows the structure. Understand? And what is a structure? A manifestation of the rule. Okay? It's all mixing you up. So, what's a drill? A linguistic pattern that shows the structure. So when I say Ali is taller than Murad, I can use this as a drill. And I tell the students, for example, short, Ahmad, Muhammad. And they will tell me, Muhammad is shorter than Ahmad. Yes, the word that you give your students is called Q. C-U-E. Q. So Q, or sometimes we say clue. C-L-U-E. So Q and clue are words or sometimes phrases that we provide our learners with in order to get them to practice the what? Practice the what? The structure. So, the words or phrases that we provide our learners with help them to practice the structure. Help them to practice the structure. So, the role of the teacher here is to provide his students with these cues, clues, words, or phrases. Okay? And this way, he can help them practice the structure. We can use what we call manipulative drills. Manipulative drills or mechanical drills. Mechanical drills. So the first type of drills is called mechanical drills. Repetitive drills is one subtype of mechanical drills. Okay? So mechanical drills, they repeat like parrots. Okay? Repetitive drills is a subcategory of mechanical drills. So if you ask your students, for example, to repeat the new word, this is called mechanical drills. Sometimes they don't know the meaning. So in mechanical drills, we are not after the meaning, we are after what? What's the opposite of meaning in language teaching? Form, very good. So we have form and meaning. So if you stress the form, you are stressing the mechanics of the language at the sake of meaning. Of course, we have to go, the meaning and the form has to go side by side. Because if students just repeat something they don't understand, they will be like what? Parrots. And this is one criticism against mechanical drilling. Because it says mechanical drilling is boring because it helps students repeat without understanding. But sometimes we use the mechanical drills to develop, somebody said here, to develop what? Their pronunciation. Good. You don't need to understand the meaning if you are trying to develop your students' pronunciation. We don't stress meaning. When we develop, we just want them to be able to pronounce the individual phonemes. So this is what we want them to do. Regardless whether they understood the meaning or not, this is a secondary issue. A second type of drill is called manipulative drills. Manipulative drills. اللي انتم بتقولها manipulated. Manipulative drills. Yes, manipulative drills. The manipulative drills, the teacher, the word manipulative comes from the verb manipulate. Manipulate is to change, to make changes in the pattern, in the drill. For example, I can use manipulative drills to get my students to practice the different subject pronouns. I say, I go to school. This is the pattern. I go to school. This is the pattern. And then I tell them, he. They will say, he goes to school. Huda. Huda goes to school. So the word I'm giving my students is called what? The cue. I'm changing here something. If you change something in the drill, this is called manipulative drill. Sometimes manipulative drills are called substitution drills. Substitution drills. Substitution, we substitute. Substitute means to change or to replace something in place of something else. So sometimes we call, instead of manipulative drills, substitution drills. And we have single slot substitution drills or multiple slot substitution drills. So I can change one part of the pattern or different parts. One from the beginning, one from the end. I can do many things, many types of manipulation in the drill. So we have manipulative drills, mechanical drills. We have what also something called meaningful drills. Meaningful drills. As the term implies, meaningful drills stresses the meaning more than anything else. Stresses the meaning. So if I'm giving them, especially for beginners, I'm giving them the structure, this is and these are. This is a structure. And I can say, this is a book, and they keep saying, this is a book, this is a book, this is a book. This is what type of drill? Repetitive mechanical drill. Okay? And if I give them, instead of a book, I say a ruler. They will say, this is a ruler. Okay? And instead of a ruler, I say a teacher. They say, this is a teacher. This is what type of drill? Manipulative drill. قلتوها برضه manipulating drill. Manipulative drill. If I show them the thing I want them to practice, this would be. So if I refer to this is a marker. This is a mobile. So they will say, I will just refer to something meaningful and they will use it as their cue. I'm not giving them something that they don't see, but if you give them something real, meaningful means real. I refer to this and they will say, this is an office or this is a podium. Okay, meaningful. Okay, understand? Meaningful drills. Meaningful drills. The fourth, yes, Marwa. No, you just show them the thing and they will say it. Or if they don't know its name, you can help them. You can say it. So instead of telling, write the word marker, and they'll say this is a marker. They don't know what a marker is. But if I show them this and say marker, this is meaningful drill. Meaningful drill, they associate the meaning with the word. They link, they give a link to the word with some real object. Yes, Anan.
Can I use all the steps in one lesson?
Sure, you can use all the drills in one lesson. Yes. That, if you remember, I just said this a couple of minutes ago. I said most of what teachers do in the classroom involves what? Drills. There are some question and answer drills. So when you ask a question and the students answer, this is a type of drill. Meaningful drill, or sometimes it's called communicative drill. Sometimes we use a fourth category of drills, which is called communicative drills. And this is what the assignment will be. How many assignments have you got so far? I will be looking at these assignments at the end of the semester in your files. Remember, when I do the interview, I will be looking at your assignments. And please, I warn you, I warn capital W-A-R-N capital, you small. I warn you to copy from each other. You have to do the assignment yourself, individually. Okay? What I want you to do is write different types of language drills. Different types of language drills. Different types of language drills from the internet. There is a whole chapter in the book about drills. Okay. So the fourth category or type of drill is called communicative. And communicative drills depends on dialogue, conversation. Suppose you have taught the past tense structure, the past tense structure, and you tell your students, what did you do yesterday? They have to tell you something. All the communicative drills are meaningful. All the communicative drills are meaningful, not the other way around. A meaningful drill doesn't necessarily need to be communicative, but any communicative drill is meaningful. Because if you ask your student, if I ask you, what did you do yesterday? You have to give me genuine, real answer. I did my laundry yesterday, but this has to be real. I watched the match between who? No, Real Madrid and Barcelona wasn't yesterday. Barcelona and AC Milan, right? And Barcelona won, I think, don't know how. So if you ask your students, please give me that. I said, stop sending me notes and try. When you ask me a question, please try to make it relevant to what we are discussing. I have a question here. Please, Dr. How can I pronounce these words? T-H-A-I-S. T-H-A-I-S. Thias. Thias is a name. And of course, if you don't have an audio dictionary, you can go to the net and find the pronunciation. And cucumbers. The second word is cucumbers. Yes, cucumbers. Okay? Would you re-explain clustering? Okay. How can I say حاصل على الدبلومة التربوية في اللغة الإنجليزية? I have an educational diploma in English. Okay? I have a general educational diploma in English. Okay? General educational diploma in English. Sometimes we call it, if it is 1 year, like the one you are pursuing, this is called professional diploma. I have a professional diploma in English. Professional diploma. Yes. Professional diploma. مهني vocational diploma. This is professional diploma. Okay? مهني, it's another diploma that after you finish this diploma you can join. It's called vocational diploma. But this is professional diploma because supposedly you have finished your BA in the College of Arts and now you are being prepared to teach. So your profession will be what? Teachers. So this is a professional diploma. It helps you develop your teaching and educational skills supposedly. Supposedly. Supposedly means what? Okay. Okay. When we talk about clustering, we are diverting, we are digressing now from what we were talking about. Clustering, who can tell us what clustering means? One of the brilliant listeners. What is clustering? Marwa. I said one of the brilliant students and Marwa raised her hand. She is brilliant, very good. So what's a cluster first? What do you mean by cluster? A group of consonants. Two or more consonants happening together without a vowel between them. Okay? So when we talk about clustering means two or more consonants happening together with no vowel between them. So in Arabic we tend to insert a vowel between these two or three consonants. And this is called clustering problem. So inserting a vowel between two or three consonants that are happening together, this is called a clustering problem. And this problem is caused by what? The interference of the mother tongue. Because we don't have this phenomenon in Arabic. Okay? What is the difference between want and need? This is not this is not related to the content of our discussion. Usually want is for luxurious things. Need is for necessities. So you can say, I need a car, but I want a Mercedes. You don't say, I want a car. No, I need a car. Okay? Yes, we need air to breathe. We need a place to live in. Okay? But I want a villa. You don't say, I need a villa. No. You want something extra. Okay? I need a husband. But I want him to be tall and handsome. Okay? You don't say, I want my husband to be tall and handsome. No. First, you need a husband, but you want him to be educated, cultured, handsome, rich. So you want. So want is for something extra. Extra. When you say extra, this is clustering problem. Extra. Okay? Extra. I think I answered all the questions here. Thank you very much. I got a thank you note for the site because it has helped you greatly. So thank you too. Our photographer here, we should thank him. Back to what we were discussing because we still have to talk about teaching culture. So you have 4 types of drills. First type is mechanical, manipulative or substitution. You can say mechanical or repetitive, meaningful and communicative. And the communicative is more genuine and more real and is very much related to the students' daily lives. Okay? So, I have been talking so far about teaching syntactical rules or structures. When we teach any other rule, phonological, morphological, or lexical, we can use either deduction or induction. You can start with the examples and the students will draw out the rule, or you can tell them the rule and they will apply the rule onto the example. I told you the rule of the spelling rule of IE, right? The spelling. Many of you get mixed up when they spell a word that has an IE. Do we write it EI or IE? We get mixed up between IE and EI. There is a rule for that. So if I write the words for you and you come up with the rule, which will be better, but it's time consuming, or I can give you the rule and you apply it. The rule is, this is a spelling rule in the lexical rules. The rule is, it's an IE except after a C. It's an IE, the sound E, long E, happens either EI or IE. The sound E, long E. It has to be long E. And if you are confused, is it an IE or EI? You look at the consonant that's preceding the EI or IE. If it's a C, it's EI. Otherwise, it's an IE. So the rule says it's an IE except after a C. So the word believe, it's what? Perceive, deceive, conceive, perceive. So, but a word like friend, friend doesn't apply the rule, because in friend we don't have long E. In friend, yes, the I is silent. Okay? So the rule applies only to the words, or to the, yes, the words that has long E. The word like their names, EI, there, it's not a long E. So the rule doesn't apply here. We are talking about words which have long E. Understand? Any questions? So whenever you introduce, for example, how do we pronounce the ED? Whether it's teh or deh or ed, you can write the examples and the students will come up with the rule, or you tell them the rule and they will apply the rule onto the examples. Understand? Also, when you teach, for example, the rule of silent letters, there are some rules for silent letters, right? The K, if it is followed by N, the K is silent. This is a rule, right? And in this way, which mode of presentation I used? When I said if the K is followed by an N, the K is silent. Deduct. Give me examples. Knee. Knife. Knock. Okay? Knife. No. So this is a rule. So there are some rules which govern silent letters. Don't just believe that they go haphazardly. There are some rules that govern the silent letters, and you can teach these rules through either deduction or induction. Any questions? Should we move on to culture? Okay, let's talk about culture. Because culture is a very interesting topic when we teach a target language. What do you mean by target language? English. In our case, it's English. So the language that you're trying to learn is called target language. Okay? Culture is related to the socio-linguistic aspect of the language. Socio-linguistic. Socio-linguistic. Yes. Because culture determines how language is used by its members in the society. Culture determines how language is used by its members in the society. How to use the language, how language is used by its members in the society. Culture determines how language used by its members in the society. Now, the word culture itself, what's culture in Arabic? ثقافة. What's culture? What do you mean by culture? Traditions, customs. So the word culture means a way of life. A way of life. A way of life of a particular people living together in one place. A way of life of a particular people living together in one place at a certain time. Good. This culture is made visible in the way they dress, in the way they eat, in the way they celebrate their holidays, and in the way they talk. So language is part of the culture. So which is broader concept? Culture or language? Culture. Culture is more general than language because language is part of the culture. Language is part of the culture. It's not the other way around. Language is part of the culture. And some cultural aspects affect the language itself. How? In our culture, for example, when it comes to punctuality in our culture, do we always come on time? No, right? We don't come on time. We are always what? Late. In our culture, we are always late. And in our culture also, we don't do things quickly. We are slow. Look at the way you walk. No. I'm talking generally. Look at the way people walk in the streets as if they don't have anything to do. They are just passing time, leisurely. Look at the way Europeans and the Americans walk. They walk very fast because this is part of their culture. So when it comes to language and culture, I just said that culture affects some linguistic behavior. Culture affects some linguistic behavior. And this is very clear in our culture in punctuality aspects. As a society, generally, we are not punctual. When you meet with an Egyptian and you want to have an appointment, he will tell you, I will see you after dawn prayers or after dusk prayers. شوفك بعد المغرب. There is no specific time, right? Because in our culture, our concept of time is, what's the word? Is loose, like our language. And by the way, this is not bad. When we compare two cultures, we should not issue value judgments. We should not say that this culture is good and this culture is bad, because there is one important characteristic of cultures, which is that, write this down. Cultures are descriptive, not prescriptive. Any culture is descriptive, not prescriptive. There is a difference between descriptive and prescriptive. Value judgment. Value judgment means this is a good culture and this is a bad culture. Generally speaking, I'm talking generally speaking. We should not issue value judgment when we look at a particular culture. So, for example, we should not look down upon other cultures. Look down upon means what? يحتقر. محقر. We should not look down upon other cultures. Despise. Yes, good. We should not despise other cultures. Simply because cultures are descriptive, not prescriptive. Descriptive means it's good for their own people. Our Egyptian culture is good for us, right? Or should we replace it by the American culture? No, nobody will agree to that. Not even the most liberal will like this to happen, right? Even the most liberal will say, no, I like my Egyptian way of living. Even if there are some aspects that he doesn't like about his culture, but still it fits his own personality. Because any culture is descriptive. Descriptive means good for its own people. If you look at culture as prescriptive, in this way, you will say culture A is better than culture B. So we should adopt the norms of culture B and replace culture A with culture B's norms. Understand? Culture is descriptive. Descriptive means it's good for its own people. But if you look at culture as the word prescribe means you should adopt it and follow its norms. Prescription, when you go to a doctor and you are sick, he writes what for you? Prescription, right? And you should take this medication, follow it in order for you to become better, to feel better, to become well. So culture is not this way. Culture is not prescriptive. It is descriptive. Descriptive means it's good for its own people. Let's say, for example, dating. What's dating in Arabic? Dating is okay for Americans, right? But is it okay for us? Although it happens, right? It happens in Egypt. It happens now. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was passing by, was going to my car, and I found that boy putting his thigh, his leg, on the girl that he is sitting next to. And I was passing by. I intended deliberately to go through so that he takes his leg out of her. And she was, I don't know whether she was enjoying or I don't know. Here, in front of everybody. Probably. I stopped and I said, come here. He looked at me and said, what do you want? I said, are you a student here? He said, no, I'm not a student here. He was very rude. A very rude person. I've never met somebody like this in my life, really. He said, I'm not a student here. I said, so why are you here? He said, so what? Is it your college? Really? I told him, you are very rude. And I said, and you have a prayer marker in your forehead, and so what do you want? I said, get out of here. I'm not leaving, he replied. I'm not leaving. He was very, very rude. I told him the cards, but he fled. He ran away. And I hit him on the face, by the way. I cut him and I hit him on the face. And he left. And he was threatening me that he will show me. And the girl was, I expected that the girl should leave him and run. She was waiting for him to finish. And of course, for her, he is a hero. So anyway, of course, these patterns of behavior are not suitable to our what? Culture. And what really shocked me that's why I stopped him, I thought, or I'm not sure, but I think that they are married. This kind of marriage that's going on between, yes, secret marriage. And he was telling her, yes, I heard this, but I don't have money to get an apartment, and our situation is fine as it is. We meet but I don't have money. Marriage has many requirements, and I'm not ready to do it. So I said they are probably married in secret, and they don't. He is convincing her to wait, and of course this is illegal. This is haram. There is no such a word in English, by the way. Sin. This is sin. Okay. Anyway, so a good teacher, a good language teacher, should contrast the two cultural norms of the target language and of the native language, and show the students what's suitable for us to follow and what's not suitable for us to avoid. We always say you should choose the best in other people's culture. You should choose the best in other people's culture. But you should not go blindly and follow everything that other peoples do. I'll tell you a very interesting example of how culture affects the time concept. As we said, we are not a punctual people. We are not a punctual people. In English, we have these two concepts. We have in time and on time. But in Arabic, we don't. How do you translate in time in Arabic? And on time? So what's the difference? In time and on time. What's the difference between on time and in time? And late. We have on time, in time, and late. So is in time late? No. Why? Huh? On time? Yes. وقت المحدد. On time. What about in time? So, okay, suppose we start at 12 o'clock. Okay? I come here exactly at 12 o'clock. I come on time. Okay? Suppose I came here at 12 and somebody came at 12:15. Huh? So how do you judge him? Late. Okay? We are talking about holidays. In Egypt we have only 2 holidays for Muslims and also 2 holidays for Christians. And I told you before that it's not scientific to call the people, the Christians in Egypt, we should not call them Copts, because all Egyptians are Copts. Being a Copt is a nationality, not a religion. We are all Egyptians, and we are all Copts. But these Copts can be either Coptic Muslim or Coptic Christian. Okay, anyway. So, our brothers and sisters who are Christians have also 2 holidays. They have Christmas and they have the Easter. Easter. Yes, the Easter. When they believe in the Easter, they believe that Christ was resurrected. This is their belief, and they are free to believe whatever they believe. Everybody is free to believe in whatever he believes. So our brothers and sisters who are Christians have 2 holidays, and we have 2 holidays. Americans have 3 holidays. Thanksgiving, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Day, and Easter. They have 5 holidays, 5 major holidays. And no, there is a difference between New Year's Day and the Christmas Day. This is a misunderstanding in our culture. We think that the Christmas is on January 1st. No. January 1st is New Year's Day. New Year's Day. And 31st of December is called New Year's Eve. Okay? New Year's Eve. They celebrate this. They celebrate and they have it as a day off. They have a vacation. It's a holiday. It's a holiday. The 1st of January is a holiday. The 25th of December is a holiday. The last Sunday of April is a holiday, the Easter. And the last Sunday of November is Halloween. And they have Thanksgiving too. Okay? So they have major 5 holidays. So who has more holidays? Egyptians or Americans? Americans and the British also. So our students should know these holidays, and they are different from our holidays. There are some techniques that good teachers should use to incorporate culture into their teaching. There are some techniques. There are some techniques that English language teachers should adopt in order to incorporate. Incorporate means what in Arabic? Incorporate. Introduce. Insert. So there are some techniques that EFL teachers should use or adopt in order to incorporate. Can you spell the word incorporate? P-O-R-A-T-E. To incorporate something means to insert it. Incorporate while they are teaching the language, while they are teaching the target language. One of these techniques is called cultural islands. Cultural islands. Cultural islands. A cultural island happens when the teacher arranges his classroom through posters, pictures, in such a way to make it look like the culture of the target language. So if the teacher, for example, has some posters of Big Ben, or the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, or the Statue of Liberty in America, he has pictures of these and hang them around in his classroom. He is creating a what? Cultural island. So a cultural island happens when the teacher hangs some posters, pictures of the landmarks of the target culture, of the target language. This way, his students will learn about where is America, for example, where is Britain. So they learn the location of these countries. Where is this language spoken? So they can see a picture or a map of Britain or a map of America. So this way we broaden up their horizons in terms of culturally loaded ideas. There are about 7 different techniques we can use as language teachers to incorporate culture, target culture, while we teach EFL. The second one is called culture capsules. Culture capsules. Yes, capsules. Capsulat ثقافية. Culture capsules happen when the teacher compares 2 situations that are different within the 2 cultures. For example, what is this? Come here. In American culture, this means goodbye. See? So this is, in American culture, this is goodbye. But here, come here. So if you don't understand this, and I remember, and this I witnessed this when I was in America, Iranians have the same culture as we do. An Iranian in the morning was going to his car, and he passed through an American woman, American lady, and he said good morning, and he was starting his car he was getting into his car, and she said, she did this to him. She's telling him goodbye. And he left the car and went back to her and said, what do you want? He didn't know that she's waving him goodbye. Yes. Yes. So this is called cultural capsules. To compare two different aspects of culture will help the students understand. Also, for example, the word thank you in our culture. The word thank, the expression thank you, means yes or no? No. When you come to visit me and I ask you, would you like a cup of tea? And you say shukran, means what? No, no or yes? No. In America it means yes. So if you say thank you, they will get you coffee or tea. Would you like some tea? And you say thank you, they will come and bring you the tea. Although you mean, by thank you we mean what? No, we don't want. You have to say yes, thank you, or no, thank you. But you don't say just thank you, okay? Another assignment that I want you to do is look for the techniques of incorporating culture in EFL classes. I gave you 2, they are about 9. You still have 7 techniques. Look for on the net. Techniques of incorporating culture in EFL or ESL classes. So how many assignments do you have so far? 7. You have 7 assignments. Okay? Thank you for listening. Thank you for attending. See you next week.